It is official. Wall Street has picked Ethereum over Bitcoin, at least in the short term, as Bitcoin outflows continue and Ethereum inflows also continue. Also, something big is happening today that could potentially push the price of Bitcoin up over the next 2 weeks. What is that catalyst? We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about what's happening in Japan. It looks like the Bank of Japan has decided to pretty much throw in the towel. We're not going to raise rates. We saw what happened when we raised 25 basis points. Does this mean the recession is canceled and the prices are going back up? We'll talk about that. Also, we take a look at a Bitcoin chart. We're going to talk a little bit about a tease from Donald Trump's kids about DeFi. They're launching a project apparently. What does that mean for the space? And are we going to speculate? We are going to speculate on that. Is it going to be real estate? Is it going to be something else? Is it going to be a meme coin? Who knows? We'll talk about it. Also, how one industry that has seen prices go up drastically over the last 2 years, how blockchain and crypto could potentially save us from this one industry and its high fees and prices. We'll have that discussion and much, much more in today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information and repackage it up in a fun and sexy, not like my co-host kind of way.
Why don't you like your co-host, Rob?
Oh, man.
Because me and Ashley were making fun of you?
Nobody can make fun of me.
Right. Ashley,
My personality is bulletproof.
Sure? Bulletproof?
Yes.
Huh. Personality is bulletproof. From yourself, maybe. From yourself.
Maybe.
You cannot phase me.
We got the Italian Stallion joining us as well. Big Rocco's in the house. Guys, we got a packed show today. Let's start with the title of your show, right? It says huge news. Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe get into some XRP a little later. But let's start with Bitcoin.
I heard the lawsuit is almost over. It's about to be. Could it happen by the end of the show?
Maybe.
I'm just saying. What happens if it happens by the end of the show? Do we like pop a bottle of champagne? What?
No, we pop a bottle of Sprite.
We got some bubbly over here from Jimmy. He sent us a while ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
If the court case comes in by the end of the show, we're popping open some champagne. We're gonna celebrate.
We are?
Yeah.
It's 11 in the morning.
European time. It's
5 o'clock somewhere. They say.
Yeah, there you go.
So, as the title of your video you're watching now states, Ethereum over Bitcoin. It seems like, at least in the short term, Wall Street and TradFi has picked Ethereum as their horse in the race. You can see here, U.S. Bitcoin ETFs see $150 million in outflows. Ether ETFs log in $100 million in inflows. And so kind of piggybacking off here, well, now we'll get into the ETH stuff in a little bit, but something that could potentially, big news today, you can see the headline on your screen here.
Is it XRP?
No. Morgan Stanley advisors can officially pitch their Bitcoin ETFs. Robin, we know Morgan Stanley, massive, couple trillion in assets under management. Today is a day. Today is a day. Financial advisors, you know that movie Wolf of Wall Street? Or Wolf of Wall Street, where he goes into that thing and he's just picking up the phone. I got this great company. What was the name of that? Dino, not Dino Nuggets, actually. It was Dino something. Anyways, are they going to be picking up the phone and calling their investors and saying, look, we got access to this now. It is down 20% over its all-time high. We think this thing can rally. Let's get you some exposure, or at the very least, people are going to see the headlines. They're going to reach out to the financial advisors. What kind of inflows could we potentially see from the Bitcoin spot ETF? And I'm not saying it's going to happen today.
It is happening today.
Well, it's happening today, but I'm not saying we're going to see like $1 billion of inflows today.
Maybe.
But over the next 2 to 4 weeks, what could we potentially see as far as inflows from the Bitcoin ETF? And it's not just Morgan Stanley. This was posted by AP Abacus, several sources, and this guy's sources are pretty good. I follow this man. I'd recommend you go follow him as well. Several sources, Wells Fargo believe that they will quickly follow Morgan Stanley with Bitcoin ETF approvals. and they expect them to approve more than just BlackRock and Fidelity's product. Full platform approval next month or sooner. And Wells Fargo has almost $2 trillion in assets under management. How big is this news, Robin? Morgan Stanley, potentially Wells Fargo. Who knows who's next? Not just, hey, do you have $1 million? Then fill out this questionnaire. Then maybe we'll give you access to the Bitcoin ETF. It's like, yeah, you want the Bitcoin ETF? You can have it. What are your thoughts?
Well, they're going to throw the ETH in there, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Wait, what?
That's the big return there. Why not throw ETH in there? Why not suggest those to your clients, you know?
Because it's a process. Trust the process, as they said
but
in
like, let's
Philadelphia.
go all in on the process, right?
No, you trust the process.
Now, why do I feel like these financial managers and brokers that are working for Morgan Stanley are going to pick up the phone and be like, man, I got this thing. You might never heard of it. It's this new tech. And then they're going to be like Bitcoin, right? And then guy on the other end is like, well, tell me more. I just feel like the word Bitcoin the word Bitcoin is known, right? But outside of that, I don't think people really understand how it works. And we talk about it all the time. People that haven't educated themselves. So I'm just curious if in the pitch, if they're going to have like scripts to explain like, hey, what is Bitcoin? I didn't know that some of these asset managers have created promotional videos that kind of explain, you know, how the ledger system works, how blockchain works. But I'm just kind of curious on, is Morgan Stanley going to educate their consumers on what it is, or are they going to simply, hey, I got Bitcoin, you can make a lot of money on it, or are we going to have a bunch of crypto maxis that are like, hey man, I'm telling you this blockchain thing, it's going to be disruptive, fiat is trash, like guys, like this is the future, look at the growth curve, that's what I want to know. Are we going to get a bunch of what we see on crypto influencers kind of perspective? Is that going to be played out with the financial advisors where they're out here educating and promoting Bitcoin? Because if that's the case, then, you know, we're going to have some parabolic adoption, which would essentially create large inflows, right? Because that's where majority of the money is in the U.S. is in these asset managers and these retirement accounts and these 401ks and investment portfolios. That's where the money's at, man. And so what I want to see is responsible Bitcoin adoption, promotion, advertising. Well, you think they're going to do that?
Well, they're not going to pick up the phone, start pitching it, and then a simple question is asked like, yeah, we don't know. No, they're going to be debriefed. They're probably going to have a bullet point list of common objectives and questions people are going to ask, and they're going to have answers written down. And everyone's going to follow the same.
But do you think their script is going to be promoting it to persuade the investor to buy it? Or do you think it's going to be more of an educational purpose? Like, hey, if you wanted to get exposure to Bitcoin, we do now offer it. And then they just leave it there.
I mean, ask yourself.
Or do you think that
pretend like you're a financial advisor? What would you?
But you see, I'm jaded, right? I'm influenced because I hold crypto. So perhaps the financial advisor, maybe they don't have exposure to crypto. And if they don't have exposure to crypto, how could you sell it, right? How could you promote it if you have no experience with it? And so that's where I'm at. I'm just curious to see, like, if these individuals custody crypto, they have a position on Bitcoin, and now they can offer it to their clients. I think it's going to be absolutely earth-shattering, right? Because I mean, that's, like I said, that's the concentration of money is within the certain demographic. In this demographic here, at least in the United States, has retirement accounts, portfolios.
This will be the reason, Robin.
Bag of money?
Money. Financial advisors make money when you make money. And so when Bitcoin goes up and your clients' portfolios goes up 10, 15%, they make money. And so it's a new asset, something you can get excited about. You can sit there at Morgan Stanley and say, look, you can't go to X, Y, and Z and get the same product. You can with me. You can with me. Look what Larry Fink said about it. Look at the adoption. Look at how much it's gained over the last 10 years. Look at the compounded annual growth rate. Like, there's so many selling points. And the incentive, right? There always has to be an incentive for the person pitching the idea or pitching the product. And the incentive here is a shitload of money. And it's pretty damn simple, man. Pretty damn simple. Also, make your clients happy. Get them those big returns you're not going to get from the S&P. It's pretty simple, bro.
It is.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out how degen are these financial advisors going to go? That's really where I'm at, because I'll be honest with you, every time I talk to anybody in finance that's not in crypto, they kind of brush crypto off as a joke, right? And so a lot of these people, these individuals that brush it off as a joke, they have portfolios. They have clients, they have customers, and they have made their money. Like you said, they have made their money up to this point without it. And so I'm just curious, how fast does this go?
No one's ever said no to more money, though.
Yeah.
Unless you got to sell your soul.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to sell the product anyways. It's like this. If you got a car dealership, let's just say you got a car dealership, right? And you got the highest end Mercedes or BMW there, right? You got the S Class or, the 7 Series Beamer, whatever it is. You got the premium stuff where you're making a commission. You sell one of those, you're sitting on 30 grand yourself just on one sale, right? You're selling a $250,000 car. And then you got the sedan, the cheap, the entry level model on the lot as well. Now, let's just be real. Crypto, small market cap compared to traditional finance, how these companies have made money historically. And so I have a feeling that these financial advisors are going to try to steer their clients into the products that have already made them a ton of money, that they're used to, that have big returns. And they're going to look at Bitcoin as a smaller asset that, well, perhaps is like the sedan that, hey, if you want it, I'll sell it to you, sure. But you know what? I want to steer you into these products.
So, Robin, here's the thing, right? You and I have both, our experiences in the service and the restaurant and hospitality industry, right? When you work in a restaurant and all the employees have all been there for 4 years, right? And then this new hot server gets hired. Everyone is fixated on that new hot server, right? Because we've been looking at each other for 4 years. We're tired of each other. We want some new people in here, and then here comes this new person, and everyone's fixated on that.
Here comes the sexual harassment as well.
Bitcoin is the sexual harassment of the crypto industry. I think it's something new. It's something exciting. You got people like Larry Fink behind it. You have some data to show them. Look at these inflows. Look at the price. This is long-term. If we buy in 3 to 5 years, whatever they want to say, I think it's exciting. It's new. It can add money to their portfolios, and it can add money to their own pockets as well. I do want to talk about this as well. So BlackRock has been on fire with the ETH ETF. Another $110 million worth of inflows yesterday, approaching $1 billion since launch. It is now one of the 6 best performing ETFs to launch in 2024, which includes Bitcoin's ETF, which also launched in 2024. And so this was always a big toss-up and discussion. What were the inflows going to look like? We're going to see outflows from Bitcoin moving into ETH. And that is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing outflows from Bitcoin, and we're seeing inflows into Ethereum. And so
you called me so many names when I said that you're going to have outflows from Bitcoin and into ETH.
I did not say that.
Yes, you did.
Hold the receipts.
Bro, every time you were like, people aren't going to sell their Bitcoin for ETH. And I was like, yo, it's some proportion they're going to. And you were fighting that whole idea the entire time.
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
And every time I brought up $10,000 Ethereum, you were like, oh.
You said $20,000 by 2026. That's all I pushed back.
Yeah, and that is a gross underestimate of where I actually think it's going to go. Because if I would have told you my real price numbers, it shock the market.
Go ahead. What is your real price numbers?
You know what I was thinking about doing?
No.
Tell me if you would buy this.
No.
Stop. I have an idea that, a great business idea that I have not shared with you yet. But okay, check this out.
Probably involves a lot of money.
No, this one's actually pretty cheap, and we can make some money off of it too.
Wow.
But would you be willing to purchase from Sin City a crypto almanac? A crypto almanac, okay? So we come out with one every year, okay? So check this. Shut it.
Ashley said, what does that mean?
Okay.
Tell me your age without telling me your age. Huh?
In almanac, they have a farmer's almanac, right? Okay, so the farmer's almanac, what that is every year they come out one, and they're forecasting what the weather's going to be like. The geothermal movements of. Anyways, you got El Nino. So the thing is they try to predict the weather and the seasons and what to expect, rainfall and stuff like that. So while we do a crypto almanac, we come out with a book every year. And we forecast the price of all the cryptos for that year. And it'll be like a little pocket guide, right? And you flip over it and you got say Q1 Bitcoin, Q2 Bitcoin, Q3.
And then next thing you know, we're in a courtroom getting sued. Well, it said in your little almanac booklet here that Bitcoin was going to $180,000.
It's a guide, right? I mean, you can't sue the farmer's almanac for more rainfall.
They're not in the finance world. I do like the idea. I think it's really good.
I think I have a better idea.
I like a little book, man. You keep it in your pocket, and then
let's do a
we
calendar.
can laugh at the prices if we're wrong or we're right.
Yeah, Rocco, what do you think?
We can do a calendar with a picture for every month.
It's like a calendar. It's like a calendar.
And then in the calendar, if you want, we can do the price prediction.
Yeah, I mean,
the Bitcoin price.
Just imagine a little pocket, a little book.
Robin in his Speedo holding up a sign.
$25.
$25.
You know what I mean? You got our prices for the year, and and all like the top 200 tokens.
You just gave away your amazing idea. Now someone's gonna buy it and do it. Yeah, man.
That's it.
They can't do it like we do.
You're a genius.
We can't do it like we do.
You gotta hold these close to the vest, you know.
And then it's got to be something that fits in the back pocket, so you can take it around with you.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Not even the phone in your back pocket.
Yes, the back pocket.
Yeah, you know what?
Or a front shirt pocket as well.
Oh.
You know what also fits in the back pocket is the new Doritos flavor, the small bags, menthol, Newport flavor. If you're really craving nicotine and chips, say hello to Doritos Newports.
That was disgusting.
Okay.
Anyways, if you'd buy the almanac, put a 1 in the chat. If you think it's a horrendous idea, put a 2 in the chat.
Taking it back to the 70s, guys.
And so I want to
I don't know
know,
what that means.
an almanac is like a forecast for the year. It's like an index. It's an index of numbers, right? Or
Like I
index
feel
of
like you're
data.
using some like dinosaur.
An annual calendar containing important dates and statistical information such as astronomical data and side tables.
Yes.
Rocco was right. It is a calendar.
So so we come out with a crypto almanac, and then it has $25. We got to print these things out. So for $25, you can get your own.
You know we're in the digital age now, right?
You can also get
carries books.
the digital copy, which would be significantly cheaper as well.
Or you can do it for every day. Also have a QR code. There is directly a Bitcoin wallet, or every day can have a different wallet, Solana, XRP. You can do donation.
There's a lot of twos in the chat. You guys wouldn't buy it?
No, because no one even knows what a freaking almanac is.
That's a really big word for you.
Now, I want to put your feet to the fire here, Robin. I want to put your feet to the fire. You've called me dumb money.
Retro Mike says it's a horrible idea, but he would buy it anyways.
Retro Mike. What's up, Retro Mike? You've been this perma bull, and you call me dumb money, but you're over here, Bitcoin down 30%, gains 10%. Oh, the bull market's back. Oh,
We're back.
But you also said,
back.
what did you also say? We talked about Mr. 100. And we talked about him buying 1,500 Bitcoin.
I also said it might be Elon
No, I'm not. Hold on. Let me get to where I'm going.
or Satoshi.
You said, but yeah, a week ago, he also sold like 800, and you said, looking back at it, that was probably a good time to sell, correct?
Yeah. He's sold twice, and both times have been spot on.
Just dumped over 6,000 Bitcoin
Today?
today.
So,
Mr. Permabull, are you selling or are you buying?
well, you know what? A man has got a hot hand, but I think this one he's going to lose. If he had the almanac, he would know.
All jokes aside, though, I mean, I kind of agree with people that have this amount of money to buy 100 Bitcoin at a time. They probably are prone to certain information we aren't. They probably have, they definitely have connections with people in high places. So do they know something we don't know?
I have
To dump
inside
6,000
information. I have connections with people in high places. And my sources have told me that we are in the middle of a bull market green light go?
Seriously though, does this concern you?
No. Yes. No.
It's okay to be concerned, man. It's okay.
No,
you can be bearish short term.
Okay. Hey, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is still an open market that the price is set by buy and sell orders. Okay. Now, if Mr. 100 has been spot on the last 2 times on his sales, just simply because he sold this time, like if it would have been Solana and altcoin, then at that point, sure, you can make the argument that he might have some inside information. But how many exchanges sell Bitcoin? Over 20,000. And how many miners are there? Over-the-counter transactions. And so to say that you know the price is going down and so you're selling because you have some information, I think holds no merit. Because for an asset class as big as Bitcoin, sure, it can be manipulated, but it can't be manipulated to the point to where one individual or one company can move the price of Bitcoin, say, from 57,000 down to 49,000. It's just, you can't forecast those.
So if MicroStrategy sold all that,
you could, but you would have to, it would have to be nation states or it would have to be gigantic wallets. And those wallets aren't going to sell. Like MicroStrategy is not going to sell. They're a publicly traded company.
Rob,
I mean, the only wallets that could move the price of Bitcoin more than, say, 1% would be Nation, US, company, MicroStrategy, perhaps some old legacy wallets that haven't moved in years. And those just, I don't forecast that happening. And so I think the guy is just looking at the markets, taking a bet, and he's made out twice so far. And so, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll make it a third time, but I don't think so.
Robert Vermouth said, insider info from the Bitcoin CEO, potentially. He did just go to the Congress for a hearing. So, some potential good news here from Cointelegraph. More than 400,000 Bitcoin has moved to permanent holder addresses over the past 30 days in a clear sign of accumulation. So this is, I could have swore I had one. Nope.
You know, back to the Mr. 100, I think now with the way that this dude is buying and selling, this can't be a company or a nation, right? We've talked about it being a Middle Eastern nation. I know Saudi Arabia has gotten thrown out there. You got Qatar as a possible contender for being Mr. 100. Then you got companies. But what we have here is someone swing trading, right? They're buying low, selling high, trying to anticipate the market swings. A company wouldn't do that. Neither would a nation state, right? I mean, you know, a nation isn't going to be like, okay, we're going to take a position on Bitcoin and swing trade this thing. Like, and I don't see a big publicly traded company. So for me, it has to be a billionaire that's bored, sitting on their yacht, like, watch this, man. I done made so much money on Bitcoin the last few months. I mean, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think if a nation state does it, they're
yeah. And so I don't know. I kind of scratch those ideas, right? You know, we talk about sovereign wealth funds. Perhaps we're positioning themselves to acquire Bitcoin, but you know, these traditional money companies, I don't see it, man. I think it's a billionaire just trying to entertain themselves.
You know what I do see? I see French Toaster gifting 5 Sin City memberships. Shout out to you, French Toaster. I miss the days of everyone gifting memberships, 50 memberships, 20 memberships.
When are we going to get our next whale member as well? So for those of you that don't know, we got cool animation for the whale member. You get your name in the credits, and you get some perks. There you go.
Interesting. All right. So let's talk about, well, before we move on, I want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Seed Hunter. Seed Hunter allows you, the retail investor, you know what? Let me bring you in on this conversation. Imagine if you would have had the opportunity to be able to get in on these prices that like the VCs do.
Solana at 10 cents.
Solana at 10 cents, Avalanche at 5 cents.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that everyone has looked to the VCs at and kind of, I don't want to say hated them, but at least cast some hate. Like, damn, these guys got in at 10 cents or rallied to $20 and they dumped on.
The thing is you're always on the outside looking in. It's always a privileged set of individuals or groups, venture capital, that get an invitation to get early exposure. And, you know, retail just doesn't get a chance to get those prices. You have to wait till it gets listed on an exchange. And then you're like, which exchange can I buy this from?
And also the problem is a lot of these companies that have tried to do this, they don't do the due diligence. They don't vet the projects. Whoever is willing to pay them enough money, they just throw them on their platform and give access to retail. What Seed Under does differently is they vet all the projects. They actually do a phone call, video call meeting where if they pass the initial part of the phase, they get on the phone, they get on a video call, they ask them certain questions, and then once they get approved, they'll list them on the website. They'll have all the information on there, when the token goes live, what is the fully diluted market cap value, what is the vesting period, and there's certain allocations, a percentage that is allocated to the retail investor, like you and I sitting at this desk and the people watching. And so as little as $50, you can invest in pre-private funding rounds where you can get cheap projects. So create an account. The link is in the description of this video. Shout out to Seed Hunter for sponsoring the show today. So that being said, let's talk about Japan. How the Bank of Japan wrecked the yen carry trade and the crypto markets. This is from Cointelegraph. Let's scroll down here. So bargain bin borrowing. To boost returns, traders double down on positions with leveraged or borrowed funds, often in staggering amounts. Shortly before the crash, open interest stood at almost $40 billion, which is a measure of net borrowing. All that borrowed money has to come from somewhere. Lately, that place has been Japan. In 2022, the interest rates on the U.S. Treasury bills rose above zero for the first time in years and kept climbing. In Japan, rates stayed rock bottom. Trading firms cashed in, taking out huge Japanese loans to cheaply finance trades in other markets. And I want to share this video here. This is Dave Weisberger. This was on Scott Melker's podcast, and he kind of breaks down two scenarios of what could have potentially have happened on Sunday. And can we see more of this in the near future?
Where's their exposure that's forcing them to unwind this?
They're not doing that on a Sunday into an illiquid crypto market by choice.
Well, I'll tell you what would cause it. There's two things that could cause it, and it's really simple. Were there hedge funds who owned a ton of crypto and had borrowed yen to do it? And if they did that, then their losses on the yen were sufficient. They had to sell what they had bought with it, and boom. Are there Japanese-based funds? Are there Japanese-based banks, smaller banks, bigger banks, whatever, funds that are sitting out there, or funds that had significant Japanese investments that did that? And if the answer is yes, then that's exactly what happened.
So just interesting to get,
So forced selling because the Japanese markets went down?
Yeah, essentially margin.
I 100% think that is exactly what happened. And, we talk about it all the time. Like, hey, I had someone ask me, like, why is the price of Bitcoin dropping? And, it was in the moment where we went from the 60,000 all the way down to 49,000 in the span of less than 2 days, less than 48 hours. And, and then it was like, and I was having a conversation. I'm like, did they lose conviction? Did everyone just decide to sell? I'm like, well, you got to think about the market. It's forced selling, people taking positions, companies, and, it starts at the major countries. So the U.S., if the U.S. had a big drawdown, and, we always say that, hey, Bitcoin's a hedge against inflation, but Bitcoin's price is where it is because so many people have borrowed money to purchase it. And if the money that they borrowed, if that contract gets triggered because the price of the dollar or the economy ticks down, then at that point, you're going to be forced to liquidate your assets, right? It's very simple. If you borrow money to buy a Lambo and all of a sudden your company goes under and you're filing for bankruptcy, you're going to have to sell the Lambo. Now, I know that's a long time horizon, but that's just an example of, hey, you got to sell your assets that you borrowed money on, because if you haven't paid off that Lambo and your company's going under, you owe people money, you got to sell your assets to cover your overhead. It's no different in the market and for nations. And so if you're a company, a nation state, or as they mentioned, a bank, and you're getting a run on the bank, you got people coming at you. You got to come up with liquidity immediately. You got to sell your assets, especially if it's a Sunday. Where are you going to sell your assets on a Sunday? Like you're not going to be able to sell any real estate on the fly. You're not going to be able to go into the stock market. Wall Street's closed. Your own personal, and so what you end up having is we got to sell something. What are we going to sell on a Sunday? The options are very limited. And if you got exposure to crypto, you got to sell that. If it would have been a Tuesday, it would have been a different story. Maybe it would have liquidated other assets. But I think because Bitcoin operates 24 hours, you're sitting in a scenario where, hey, I need to get my capital to cover my losses before the whole thing catches on fire and burns down. And there's only one thing you can sell on Sunday that has any realistic value, and that's crypto.
Yeah. But why does it have to happen on a Sunday? What can happen on a Monday?
I just told you, because everything else is closed.
Terrible. All right. I want to talk about now to end this whole Japan thing. There is potentially some relief on the way. So, Bank of Japan's deputy governor Shinichi Uchida said the central bank wouldn't hike borrowing costs when the markets are unstable, weakening the case for a continued unwinding of this yen carry trade and resulting risk aversion in risk assets, including Bitcoin. As we're seeing sharp volatility in domestic and overseas financial markets, it's necessary to maintain current levels of monetary easing for the time being, he said in a speech to business leaders in Japan. And so this is what we see. The markets unwind, something bad happens, and central banks and bureaucrats step in. But all they're doing is just kicking the can down the road and pretty much just putting a Band-Aid on a much bigger issue. So this was interesting. You posted this on our Twitter handle. Warren Buffett now owns more T-bills than the Federal Reserve. We know he cashed out half his Apple position, which this makes sense to me because everyone's anticipating rate cuts, which means that you can still buy 4.2, 4.3% 10-year notes, 20-year notes, 30-year bills. And then when the rate cuts happen, the newly issued debt, the newly issued T-bills are going to be worth a lot less compared to the ones you're holding now. And so he would be able to sell them at a premium if he ever decides to exit out of his large treasury position and enter back into the risk-on market.
To add to that whole story, I have something that has no relation to it, but it's very interesting. A man dual-wielding raw steaks slaps diners in the face at a vegan restaurant yelling, "If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding." And I thought to myself, this can't be a real article. And lo and behold, with a quick Google search, it actually is real. It is not made up. And so...
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Let's take a look at the markets, Rob.
All right. So you got here $55,550. So a lot of fives across the board. Oh, holy crap, 54,000. Okay, never mind. I hadn't refreshed. Okay, so Bitcoin's dropping. It's interesting. Where do we start the show at?
56.
We're at 54, man. Uh-oh.
Bitcoin dropping.
I was over here focusing on my interesting
Mr. 100.
So yeah, a little drawdown, down 2% on the hour. So you look at Bitcoin on the 1 week, you can see that, we did make up some ground here from this pullback, but maybe Mr. 100 is on to something because $54,800 Bitcoin, are we going to test that 50K mark again, that support level? Maybe. All right, let's take a quick look at the altcoin markets. I know that's what you guys are really here for. Dogwoof had up 8% on the 24 hours, still down 30% on the week. And, there are some, still a lot of bleeding in the meme coin markets. Brett down 11%, down 35%. Are you looking, and I know we've discussed it before, that a good time to get into the meme coin market is on these big pullbacks on the macro crypto charts, right? When Bitcoin gets that retracement, we've seen that the meme coin sector really takes a punch, but then it comes back first usually. And so Do you hold any weight on perhaps entering into any meme coins at this point? And I know it's high risk at this point, but history says, at least the short-term history, hey, you know what? If you expect Bitcoin to get back up to 60,000+, 65,000 here within, say, the next 3 weeks, say we have this little drawdown, we bounce back pretty quickly, which is what I'm subscribing to. If that plays out, don't you think that getting a position on meme coins is a easy
About like a short term?
Yeah, easy 2x swing trade.
Yeah. Oh, swing trade, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you pick some up now.
Yeah, but I would stay in the top 150.
Yeah,
That's a lot of liquidity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Don't do some illiquid freaking.
I think
garbage.
Bonk, Brett. I think Pepe. I think these are pretty good plays on this swing. I mean, even Doge is down 23% on the week. Pepe's down 35%. I think this might be your best
Play.
your best pet play. If you picked up Pepe right now on a Wednesday and you held it for 3 weeks, I think you might get a 50%. Yeah. 50% return 3 weeks.
If you throw a little leverage on there, little leverage.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go more than 2x on a meme.
Yeah.
But okay, so back at it on what we have for the week. I mean, for the day. So I'm back on. Let me get back to the main one here. Okay, so on the 24 hours. So you do got Sui, Bitcoin SV, Stellar up, Tron flat, but a lot of red in the market right now. So Notcoin, Lido, Flare, all down around 10%. And then you got Celestia, Kosh, WorldCoin, and Render, all down about 8%. Injective as well. And then on the week, I mean, it's a lot of red across the market. So Lido's down almost 40% on the week. And then Beam 38, Maker 38, Ethereum 36. Now, I think these ETH plays here might be a steal right now, right? I mean, also, what do you think about picking up some ETH ecosystem?
I mean, two of them are DeFi, right? Lido and Maker.
Yeah, and you got ETH, the ENS, but
that one I'm not really.
I'm not a big fan of ENS, but I think Lido and Maker DAO I think are really good plays right now. Because if you were to estimate that Ethereum were to 2x from where it is now within, say, the next 60 days, I know that's very aggressive, but I'm just simply going off of the correlation for the ETH ETF compared to the Bitcoin ETF and the returns that we saw there. And, Bitcoin's ETF drew down to 40,000 from its initial listing at 44, and then it took off to 70. So we almost had a 2x from Bitcoin in a short period of time. I'd feel pretty confident if we get a similar performance from Ethereum because it's a smaller market cap. I do think that you get a 2x, say, within the next 3 months. And if that plays out, don't you agree that these Lido, the MakerDAO, perhaps Aave, any ERC20 token, they'll outperform ETH, right?
I wouldn't say any ERC token, but yeah. I mean,
Decentraland's an ERC20 token.
Right.
That's dead. But
you think it's dead?
It's dead. Decentraland is so ugly, bro. I'm sorry, man, but
You do hate Decentraland.
yeah.
I do. I'm always in the camp of, unless you're an avid investor, just stick with the layer one, man. Stick with ETH. Like, here's the thing, right? Going outside of Ethereum, but staying in the ETH ecosystem, right? Your returns potentially could be a lot higher, but you have to really pinpoint which one is going to rally, why would it rally, versus just if the ETH is going to rally, you're going to get that exposure from the layer one. You're going to get direct exposure from the layer one instead of trying to guess which one and that one. Oh my God, I picked the wrong DeFi protocol. I picked the wrong ETH meme coin. But you can just have exposure to the layer one. Sure, your upside might be a little more capped than what it is on these single projects. But I think in the long run, it'll serve you a lot better.
Yeah, and that is my investment strategy for myself personally when it comes to ETH. You know that I'm a very, very big on ETH. And so for me, it starts at the top, and then I'm going to get smaller exposure. I can't talk enough about Ethereum, or I can't express how bullish I am because of the ETF. And we're seeing just 1 week out from its listing, it already is getting inflows, which is outperforming the movement of Bitcoin on the first week. Just saying.
And
just saying, it's outperforming Bitcoins now on a percentage perspective, not inflows as far as physical dollars going in, but from percentage, it's outperforming Bitcoin a weekend. And so I'm really excited to see what it's going to do going into a bull market where Bitcoin is in new all-time high territory. Like, what is that thing's gonna? It's gonna be crazy, dude.
You think we're gonna see because I'm just looking at a Bitcoin chart. You think we're gonna see Bitcoin keep going down?
Where is it at now?
54.7.
Perhaps it's tumbling. It is tumbling. Let us know in the chat. I want to get the consensus from you guys, and we're all looking at the chart here at the same time. We all are aware of where Bitcoin's price is. We started the show 56,000. We're at 54.6 at the moment. And do you think that within, say, the next hour, we lose 54,000 and we see a $53,000 Bitcoin? If you think that the drawdown goes below 54,000 within the next hour, put a 1 in the chat. You see 53,000 within the next hour. If you think that this is just a small little pullback, we'll be back 55, 56 in no time. Put a 2 in the chat. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
You know, just real quick here on the Bitcoin chart. Something I want to point out. So this is Bitcoin on the daily from Coinbase. And I want to point out, so I got my my price action concepts indicator on here. And I want to point out this big candle we had on Monday where we saw Bitcoin go from open up 58,000, wick all the way down to 49. This was a massive liquidity grab, right? And it came right where our discount zone is. It also filled a fair value gap that we printed back in February of this year. And so if we do come back and retest, I would expect something similar unless something broke or a massive piece of news or something happened. So just interesting to keep an eye on here. This I would be more around this 50 to 51.5 level is where I keep an eye on. I'm potentially entering into a long position, but we'll see what the markets are trying to do. Let's just zoom out to the hour here. You can see V-shaped recovery, and then we're spilling off yet again. We might catch some support at this level here, but odds are we'll probably fill this gap right around 53. This is around 53.5. Upper bound around 54.2. If not, the real clear level of support here, which was a big one, is that 50K even level. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. We'll keep our eye on the price here. If this thing drops below 54K, then we'll really tune in and focus on the markets. I do want to talk about this. This is pretty interesting from Ki Young Ju, who is the founder and CEO of CryptoQuant. As long as the Bitcoin price stays above 45K, it could break its all-time high again within a year, in his opinion. Some indicators are showing bearish signals. However, they could still recover with a rebound, so we need to watch if it stays at this level for a week or two. If it lingers longer, the risk of a bear market grows, and recovery may be difficult if it lasts over a month. This is what he's showing Bitcoin's P&L index trading position. Do you agree with that, Robin? As long as Bitcoin's price stays above 45K?
I still can't see a scenario where, unless something massive happens globally, where you have like some kind of war, I just don't see the bull run breaking. I just don't see it. I don't see us not getting to 80,000, 100,000, $150,000 Bitcoin. I just don't see a scenario that plays out. And even with war, geopolitical uncertainty, I think that actually pushes more people to Bitcoin. You could sit here and say, hey, the banks are going to go under, the market's going to go under, whatever it is. I still think that pushes more people to Bitcoin. I think that the fear in the markets more necessarily, if the market's turned down, right, and we go into this recession, we go into this scenario where, hey, man, the U.S. stock market is crashing. What's going to happen? The Fed's going to come in, print money, and a lot of that's going to funnel into Bitcoin. And so I just can't see a scenario where we don't get the 4-year cycle. I just don't. And so whatever pullback we get here, however big the drawdown is, perhaps this drawdown is long-lived. Maybe it lasts 2 months or something. Yeah. And that's long-lived for me. But I think that it'll be short-lived. I think that this is a 3-week pullback, a 2-week pullback, a 5 at most in my assumption. And with that said, I think we're off to the races shortly thereafter. So even if it does pull back to 40-something thousand, I think we're still off to the races. I think that it just clears out a lot of people, a lot of long positions where people are trying to hide their liquidation points. I think that might be too much leverage in the system. People borrowing with DeFi loans. I think a lot of that gets cleared out, and then you're off to the races. Even with 40,000, even if it went down to 30,000, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think 40,000 is going to happen, but you never know.
You never know, man. You know, I want to share this. So potentially why Bitcoin's going down. You know, we talk about geopolitical issues, and so Iran issues NOTAM, so they tell all the commercial air carriers to avoid its airspace for a certain window of time. And so you see headlines like this, people speculate, people get freaked out, pull money out of the markets, and then once this thing subsides or whatever it's supposed to happen, or whatever they want to happen happens, people re-enter the market. So something to keep an eye on. A lot of uncertainty and tensions globally, and so traders are jittery. People feel safer with cash versus in any risk on assets, including Bitcoin and crypto. So then we have this interesting post this morning at 5:40 a.m. We're about to shake up the crypto world with something huge. Decentralized finance is the future. Don't get left behind. This was posted by Donald Trump's son. So this post here kind of speculating from, this is from The Block. The announcement appears to be potentially linked to a trademark filing for the term world liberty. This is highlighting the post here. And then the only clue about the announcement was an apparent connection to Zach and Steve Witkoff, the latter a real estate baron who's friends with Trump and spoke at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Steve Witkoff posted a similar message, including the Be Defiant hashtag, a day before Donald Trump Jr. posted it on his X. So a lot of people were like, oh my God, is it going to be a meme coin? Is it going to be a token? What is it going to be? Might be tied to real estate. Do you care to give any comments on this?
No, we know that the Trump family tends to be more crypto focused. And I think that's how Trump even got his alignment to crypto. I think that there were people in his inner circle, including his family, that were like, hey, pay attention to crypto. Not to mention, I mean, dude made millions of dollars off of his NFT sales. And, you know, we see that hammered down by the fact that he was at the Bitcoin convention. He has close ties with David Bailey on his executive cabinet. You know, so not surprised to see that they're building things in crypto. And, you know, we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but, you know, there's movement in the crypto industry from the family, not at all surprising. And I think that they're going to take full advantage of it. I mean, how much money did they make off NFT sales? A lot. And that's in a market that's down. NFTs are dead. Let's be realistic. Now the JPEG version of it is. Now, I'm not to say that there won't be some new form of NFTs. Maybe the JPEGs do come back. I don't know, but I think that the NFT market right now is down, and he made a ton of money on a down market. And so just imagine if he gets into a market that is thriving. What if the Trump family launches something on the Solana ecosystem? And I'm not even saying it has to be a meme coin, but what if it's a DEX? What if it's the ticketing as well? Or maybe something to do with campaign. Maybe they try to do on-chain voting, instead of the Dominion voting machines. I mean, the thing is like, they like polarizing ideas that have fixes to real world problems. Hey, we have immigration problem. Let's build a 30-foot wall. Hey, we have a problem with voting machines. Maybe they come out and say that. I can only speculate, but I do believe that they're going to be successful at it, or at least draw enough attention to make a lot of money off of it.
Well, there's that common theme, making a lot of money, just like Morgan Stanley advisors are going to once this thing goes live. Let's take a peek at the markets. So just to kind of give you an update, right? 54.8 is where Bitcoin is at. ETH at $2,344. Solana down 2.5% on the hour. I believe this is the worst performer in the top 10 of the last hour. Yes, it is. 2.5% down, still at 143, down 20.57% over the last 7 days. You have some people, such as the Coinbase team, believing that a crash is not over yet, as recession fears loom. This is David Duong, the analyst at Coinbase. He emphasized that the market has not yet stabilized. He also pointed to growing fears of a recession, which could worsen in the weeks leading up to the Federal Reserve's decision in mid-September. He predicts that market fluctuations will continue through the third quarter, although he does not believe this marks the beginning of a new market cycle. Instead, he views it as part of a defensive period with a more optimistic outlook for the fourth quarter. Here's my thing on this. No one really knows exactly what's going to happen. Is it going to be a soft landing? But what we do know, what the hell happened here? What we do know is that people are going to speculate regardless. People are going to speculate, what is the Fed going to do? When are they going to step in? Are they going to print more money? Yada, yada, yada. And so you always want to always have money on the sidelines ready to deploy into the markets if anything happens. We know one thing for certain: the government and central banks can only sit back so long before they step in and do something, whether it's printing money, buying back treasuries, or airdropping stimulus checks into your accounts. And so always have some money on the sideline. Don't ever be over leveraged. And in times like this, I would not even use any leverage, because one piece of news, one headline article, one anything, rumors of an emergency Fed meeting may or may not be true. Markets react. Price goes up, price goes down, it washes out your leverage, you lose out on a big trade. And so these are all things to keep an eye on. And if you're prepared for every situation, then you won't have to stress and worry. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all I got, dude.
That's
it. We got a Solana video coming out later today in about 1 hour. Make sure to watch that. And if you're not subscribed and having notification bells onto the channel, make sure to do so. Ashley, any parting words?
I don't have anything, no.
Nothing.
Did you enjoy the show today?
What's up with Ash legs? Well, why am I seeing that? What is that? Steak and Ash legs?
Some guy named Jason said that the show needs more of Ashley and her legs and her smile.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did they ask for first, the legs or the smile?
The legs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Legs. I also have legs.
You have legs?
Would you like to see my legs?
Can we?
Thank you.
No, they're very hairy.
Rocco, can we cue the music, please?
Right here. Boom.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe. Watch our Solana video coming out later today. Until tomorrow, we love you guys. Peace.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.